Well, hello and welcome to Studio Classroom on the air. My name is Gabe. I'm very glad you could join us for our lesson today. Now, do you know about the price of going to college or going to university? How much is it to go to a university? It could be pretty expensive in some schools. It could be several $1,000s per semester. But in some schools or even some countries, it's free. Or what about this question? Who goes to college? Is it only the privileged who get to go to college? Or should everyone have a chance? The name of our lesson today is Barefoot College. Yes, Barefoot College. We're going to meet a man whose nickname is Bunker Roy. And here's a question for you to think about. Where did Bunker Roy move? Where did Bunker Roy move? Well, friends, right now it's time for us to move on to our first reading of the day. Let's do that now.
Barefoot College, the world's only college for the rural poor. Named to change the way we think of education and those who are the recipients, Barefoot College has launched 1,300 locations in 80 countries. How it started. Delhi social worker Sanjit Bunker Roy was convicted about the poverty of India in his youth and moved to one of the poorest Indian states to work. With his help and that of local farmer Murgaj, Barefoot College came into being in 1972. Several years later, donations enabled the purchase of several acres of land for expansion.
Hi everyone, welcome to Language Lab. 这篇文章的第一个重点，我们看 barefoot 这个形容词。bare 是指赤裸的或者没有遮蔽的，所以 barefoot 就是指赤脚的。例如 these kids are at a high risk of getting parasites because they're always barefoot. 这些孩子们得到寄生虫的危险性很高，因为他们总是打赤脚。Barefoot 也可以当副词，例如 we took our shoes off and walked barefoot on the sandy beach. 我们把鞋子脱了，赤着脚在沙滩上散步。继续我们看 recipient 这个名词 CIP 这个字根有拿或抓的意思，所以 recipient 是指接受者或领受者，所以它的重音是在 CI 这个音节念成 recipient。例如 the recipients of the scholarships are mostly from poor neighborhoods. 这个奖学金的受奖人大多是来自于贫困的社区，或者是 the names of the recipients of the prizes will be announced on the website tomorrow. 获奖人的名单明天早上会在网站上公布。
Yeah, very interesting. A lot of interesting names here in this section, like Mergaj and Barefoot.
Barefoot. You mean barefoot?
Ah, yes.
Barefoot. Hey, but look at Gabe, we're barefoot.
Yes, exactly. We wanted to see what it was like to go to Barefoot College, so we took off our shoes.
No shoes! Yes!
Okay, well, that was exciting. We are ready to go to Barefoot College. Friends, of course, that's not just what barefoot means for Barefoot College. But let's get started learning about this. We read here, the world's only college for the rural poor. I'm a little surprised by that, but I guess it's true. It's the only college for the rural poor. Now, if something is rural, that means it has to do with the countryside, so not downtown in the city somewhere.
That's right. And of course, you see the word urban up on the screen as well, right? And that's the opposite. If you live in an urban area, that just means you live more in the city. For example, Taipei is definitely an urban area. And I would say Hualien, maybe Yilan, is a little bit more rural.
Yeah, even downtown Yilan or Hualien feels more rural compared to downtown Taipei, right? So sometimes we use these words to talk about the feeling that you get as well. So the world's only college for the rural poor what? Well, this is just a short way of saying for the poor people in rural areas.
Exactly. Well, we read named to change the way we think of education. And those who are the recipients, Barefoot College has launched 1,300 locations in 80 countries.
Well, let's take a look at this word recipient. You see here on the screen, this is from our word bank. A recipient is someone who receives something. You see those letters, R-E-C, right? You receive something and you become a recipient.
For example, several years ago, Regent University, that's a college in Virginia in the United States, it gave out a scholarship for students to go to Israel. And several years ago, I was the recipient of that scholarship.
You received that scholarship?
Yeah.
And you went to Israel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that before.
Yes, I did.
That is cool. To receive or to be the recipient of a cool scholarship like that. You know, I often also think about like emails. If you receive an email, you're the email recipient. Well, let's talk about this name here, though. Barefoot College. It's named to change the way we think about education. And I think the reason is usually we think about, well, if I'm going to go to university, I have to dress well, wear a nice shirt, maybe a tie, and of course you want to have shoes, right?
Right.
But this changes the way we think about education. You don't need to wear shoes to learn something very useful for your life.
And I also think the idea is that maybe it's possible that some of the people who attended this university didn't necessarily have shoes.
Exactly. Maybe they couldn't afford to have certain types of clothes, right? So that's the idea with Barefoot College. Well, Rebecca, how did it get started?
Well, the next section is called How It Started. Delhi social worker Sanjit Bunker Roy was convicted about the poverty of India in his youth and moved to one of the poorest Indian states to work.
Well, let's take a look at this guy. Okay, so here is Bunker Roy. That is his nickname. And I asked a question earlier, where did Bunker Roy move? Well, the answer is that he moved to one of the poorest Indian states to work. So that is where he got started.
And of course, continuing on, with his help and that of a local farmer, Murgaj, Barefoot College came into being in 1972.
And we need to take a look at that phrase. To come into being, that means it began to exist in 1972. Or you could say that it was established in 1972.
That's right. So you could say, for example, there's this store, I like to call it the Red, White, and Blue store. And apparently it came into being about 5 or 6 years ago. So it wasn't always around.
Right. Okay, well, this university, or the Barefoot College, has been around since 1972. That's when it came into being. We read on here, several years later, donations enabled the purchase of several acres of land for expansion. So people were donating, maybe giving money or funds to help out. Now, we're going to learn about what they train people to do at Barefoot College, but I think it's probably pretty eco-friendly.
I think you're probably right. Well, let's learn more about that in the Info Cloud.
Hello, friends. Today, I would like to talk about a relatively new concept that's growing more and more popular. Eco-friendly.
Ah, that's a good one. You know, just yesterday, I was looking at an eco-friendly carpet for my house.
Is that the type of carpet that is made out of recycled plastic bottles?
Yes, it is. They call it eco-friendly because it is good for the environment.
And that's what we'd like to talk about today. Friends, things that are friendly are helpful and good for you. Words that have the prefix eco are talking about the environment. Eco is a prefix that comes from ecology, which is the relationship between living things and their environment.
We sometimes see this prefix in front of other words, like eco-building. This is the act of constructing buildings that don't harm the environment.
Or ecotourism, which are tourist activities that support both local people and the local environment.
Friends, do you know what makes things eco-friendly?
First of all, using them or making them doesn't damage the environment.
Right, and both their construction and use are sustainable. Using them now won't change how they are made in the future.
Here's an example. Burning coal to make electricity. It takes a long time for the earth to make coal. Burning it now means there will be less to burn 100 years from now.
But solar energy uses the light from the sun to generate electricity. There will be just as much light coming from the sun now as 100 years from now.
And much longer. So solar power is sustainable. So it is eco-friendly.
现在环保意识抬头，越来越多人开始参与保护地球的工作。如果你重视环保，那你一定要知道 eco-friendly 这个字，字首 eco 源自 ecology 生态，因此 eco-friendly 就是对环境友善的。eco-friendly 的东西很多，像 solar energy 太阳能，它是利用太阳光来发电，因此它并没有消耗地球任何的资源，这是一种 sustainable 永续的做法。永续英文叫做 sustainable， 这也是在环保工作很重要的一个字。
Oh, hey, welcome back to Studio Classroom. Just enjoying being barefoot in the studio here. Well, we're learning about Barefoot College, which has 1,300 locations in 80 different countries. It was started in 1972, and it helps a lot of people. But what do they train people to do at Barefoot College? That's what we're going to talk about next.
Barefoot College. Within 8 years, women came to the campus in Talonia, Rajasthan, from around the globe to be trained as solar engineers, mostly learning through demonstrations, practice, and sign language. What it teaches. Barefoot College, the world's first fully solar electrified campus, trains its students to build and maintain solar panels and other instruments. These include lamps, water heaters, cookers, and even a water desalination system that purifies saltwater sources for drinking. Barefoot College also offers education to the younger generation, both during the day and at its solar bridge schools that meet by lamplight at night.
OK， 接下来我们看的是 desalination 这个不可数名词。第一，这个字首有去除的意思，所以 desalination 是指去盐化或者是海水淡化。例如 the soil in this area is good for farming after desalination， 这个区域的土壤经过去盐化已经可以用来耕作。或者是 the drinking water on the boat is the product of their desalination system， 这条船上的饮用水是他们海水淡化系统的产物。它的动词是 desalinate， 例如 the system desalinates seawater and turns it into fresh water for irrigation。这个系统把海水淡化成淡水用于灌溉。最后我们看的是 purify 这个动词 ，pur 这个字根表示纯洁，所以 purify 是指净化、精炼或者是使纯净。例如 the medicine can purify your blood and help your circulation system work normally。这个药剂可以净化血液，而且帮助你的循环系统正常运作。或者是 the tribe believes this ceremony can purify one's soul。这个部落的人相信这个仪式可以净化人的灵魂。它的名词是 purification， P-U-R-I-F-I-C-A-T-I-O-N。例如 an air purification system 就是指空气净化系统。And now let's get back to our teachers.
Thanks, Michelle. So in this section, we see that Barefoot College trains solar engineers. And a solar engineer, well, of course, they deal with or maybe even make solar panels, right? What is the next section about, Rebecca?
Well, it's called What It Teaches. Barefoot College, the world's first fully solar electrified campus, trains its students to build and maintain solar panels and other instruments. This reminds me, many years ago, my dad actually built a solar oven. An oven that requires the sun in order to cook stuff.
Ah, right. If something is solar powered, you need to have the sun's power in order for it to work, right? So these people are being trained to build and maintain solar panels. So you get the idea of maybe a lot of people learning how to build these things. But what is the noun for when you maintain something?
Gabe, I know. It's maintenance.
Yes, well, it's right here on the screen. Yes.
That's right.
Yes, that means you're not just letting something sit there. No, you're working on something to make sure that it's always running in good condition.
For example, it felt like my car growing up always needed maintenance. My dad was always working on my car.
Yeah, I don't spend much time on scooter maintenance for my scooter, but perhaps I should. Well, we read on, these include lamps, water heaters, cookers, and even a water desalination system that purifies saltwater sources for drinking. That big word desalination, it refers to the removal of salt from something, like ocean water, for example.
And for example, you could say the scientists were working on the desalination of the ocean water. They were looking for ways to remove the salt to make the water drinkable.
And so, of course, it purifies the salt water, right? Well, purify is a verb, but that noun, that process is called a purification process.
And of course, the word purification reminds me of air purification. We just installed an air purification system in our home to clean or purify the air.
That's a great example. We continue here. Barefoot College also offers education to the younger generation, that's young folks like us, both during the day and at its Solar Bridge schools that meet by lamplight at night. Yes, actually you see these ladies holding a lamp. This perhaps is one of the lamps that they made.
That is probably a very real possibility.
It's cool.
Well, right now it's time for us to review today's lesson with Who knows?
I know. Let's find out who knows. Please help me in welcoming back our contestants. Say hello to Marie Dupont.
Bonjour to all. It is my dream come true to be on the greatest show on earth. Merci. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you, Marie. And let's give a warm welcome to our returning champ, Trevor Thomas.
Hello.
Oh, okay, great. Hello, yes. Well, everybody knows the rules. I give you a clue and you tell me what word it describes. Remember, it must be a word on the list. Got it, Marie? Okay, these are your words. Barefoot, recipient, donation, purify, and social worker. Now, here is your clue. You give this to help people in need.
Food. The best gift that I can give to people is food. I prepare for them in my little kitchen in Paris.
Okay, that's great, Marie from Paris. However, you need to choose an answer from the word list. Please.
But is there anything better than food? Especially French food. I can make a soufflé, croissants, beef bourguignon, quiche.
Good. Gracias, or merci for telling us. But I won't argue with you, Marie, but you need to follow the rules of the game. So, Trevor?
Social worker?
Now what is your reason for choosing social worker?
Well, social workers assist people who need help, especially children and families.
That is an excellent response, Trevor. Very touching. However, it's not the correct answer.
Oh.
If I cannot give them food, I will give them a home to live in. The answer is home, no?
No. Again, your answer needs to be from our list.
Oh, list. You keep talking about this list, but there is much more to life than this list, monsieur.
Right.
Recipient.
And why do you say recipient?
Well, if I give something to someone, then they become the recipient.
Good answer, but not the one we are looking for.
Money. I will give them money.
You're going in the right direction, Marie. What is another word that could mean money? A word on the list. Anyone? Yes.
Purify.
Oh, we seem to have lost direction. Trevor, why do you say purify?
If you are going to give money, you need to make sure that money is clean. Another way to say clean is purify.
I get what you're saying, but let's get back to the word money. What word describes the money you give to an organization or a person to help them? And there are only 2 words left.
Barefoot.
Oh, I'm glad you finally said a word from the list, Marie. Sadly, that is not the correct one at all.
I have doubts about this list, monsieur.
Well, the remaining word is...
Donation?
Yes, thank you. Trevor, you are champion once again. And guess what? This time, your prize is money. Congratulations. Awesome. Catch us next time on Who Knows? Stick to the list, Marie. Well, I like this a lot. Barefoot College helps people who maybe can't afford to go to other colleges at least learn skills like maintaining solar panels and other instruments like this.
And I think that's a very fascinating skill. Now, what is their approach?
That is a very good question. I believe we're going to find out about that next time. So friends, make sure you join us then right here on
Studio Classroom.